There's a strange thing about success. The more you chase it, the more it runs away. When you stop obsessing over numbers, views, likes, when you just start creating because it feels right, something shifts. Your words become real. Your art becomes honest. People feel it. They connect to it. We think control leads to results. But often it's the opposite. True impact comes when we release expectations and simply create. Montaigne's story perfectly embodies a way of being rooted in acceptance and introspection. Michel de Montaigne was born in 1533 in a France torn apart by religious wars. From a young age, his life was shaped by two opposing forces, privilege and tragedy. He received an exceptional education, mastering Latin as a child and being exposed to the finest ideas of his time. Yet, no privilege can shield a person from life's harshest realities: loss, pain, and uncertainty. At the age of 30, Montaigne was forced to confront life's brutalities in a relentless and personal way. His closest friend, Etienne de la Boétie, died suddenly, leaving him devastated. Not long after, his father passed away, followed by the tragic death of his brother. As if fate had not dealt him enough, Montaigne himself narrowly escaped death after being violently thrown from his horse. One might even say that had he died then, it might have been a release considering all the tragedy he had endured. To seal this chapter of suffering, his newborn daughter died shortly after birth. Imagine enduring all of that in such a short time. Imagine feeling the world collapse around you, the fragility of existence becoming impossible to ignore. Montaigne could have lost his mind. He could have surrendered to despair. But instead, he made a radical decision: to withdraw from public life and retreat to his estate in the countryside, where he would spend years in contemplation and writing. In his private library, surrounded by over 1,500 books, Montaigne discovered something rare: a space of inner freedom. He realized that nothing in the external world could offer lasting stability or absolute security. The only thing he could truly control was his own mind, how he perceived and responded to the world around him. It was in this silence and solitude that he began writing his famous essays, not to teach absolute truths, but to explore his own experience, his doubts, mistakes, and contradictions. For Montaigne, the search for self was not a pursuit of perfection, but a constant exercise in accepting uncertainty. He came to understand that much of our suffering stems from the illusion of control. We believe we can predict the future, avoid pain, and shape the world to our will. But the truth, as he saw it, is that we control very little. Peace does not come from trying to control life, but from learning to live with its unpredictability. Montaigne's decision to step back from the world was not an act of abandonment, but of liberation. He didn't run away from life. He learned to live it in a way that was meaningful to him. Away from politics, social obligations, and the expectations of others, he found a space where he could simply be. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons we can draw from his story. Sometimes we need to step away from the noise of the world to find our own path. And when we stop caring so much about pleasing others or meeting external expectations, we can discover a form of freedom that no one can take from us. What if everything we believe to be true is just a comforting illusion? What if our endless search for certainty is actually the root of our anxiety? Michel de Montaigne wasn't seeking absolute truth, and perhaps that's why he became one of the freest philosophers who ever lived. His most famous question, "What do I know?" was not just a gesture of intellectual humility, but an invitation to a new way of living. For him, serenity did not lie in having all the answers, but in learning how to coexist with uncertainty.